economic stability and confidence.
To condemn this act and call for the immediate release of these
two sets of people on earth, the oppressors and the oppressed. And in between are the cowards and the hypocrites, which are you?
No matter how tough the challenge, how high the obstacles, we always overcome.
What Nigerians need now is not about the Tonte. Who can come and salvage us from where we are?
It's an open conversation, everyone. Atlantic Television Network Open Conversation is a network flagship political platform through which trending political news, events, and stories are discussed with stakeholders. Through this conversation, ATN uses political talks about specific issues, party system, and actors to explore hope and engender positive impact to the society. Today on ATN Open Conversation, we'll take off with November 11 poll. Opposition parties reject Bayelsa State Guba poll results. In Imo State, the Labour Party PDP gives INEC 7-day ultimatum to review Guba election results. Party politics court restraints Senator Anyamwa's PDP National Secretary. In Ondo State, a former rep member declares interest for 2024 governorship race. In Kogi State elections, Melaye should be arrested, prosecuted for cybercrime. It's coming from the APC. On elections, off-season polls a clear indication of 2027 elections. Timmy Frank. And party politics group blames PDP national leadership for off-cycle election losses. Our guest on the show this morning is a development consultant, a lecturer with Connecticut Agri University, lecturer with Elekchia Madi Polytechnic, I beg your pardon. And then he is talking to us this morning as a socio-political analyst. That's none other than Zoe Solomon Tom Natoy, but we'll get to meet you after the break. Now, if you need to run because you have other engagement, we totally understand. Rest assured, we've got you covered. All you need to do is log on to our website, atlantictelevisionnetwork.tv, and you can watch us live from there. Better still, you can download our app from the App Store, ATN Live from the App Store, and watch us live anywhere you are in the world. You can also watch us live on our Facebook and YouTube pages, Atlantic Television, political trending, political conversation in the news today. Stay with us.
Representing people. Mr. President, my people are under siege.
I will place economic stability and confidence.
To condemn this act and call for the immediate release of this minister in the Temple of Justice.
Give us access to our money we put in the bank.
She said 3,000 is 1,000 to collect 3,000 naira. Where are we heading to?
I've always said there are two sets of people on earth, the oppressors and the oppressed. And in between are the cowards and the hypocrites, which are you?
No matter how tough the challenge, how high the obstacles, we always overcome.
What Nigerians need now is not about the Tonte. Who can come and salvage us from where we are?
To ATN Open Conversation, everyone. I'd like to quickly welcome Mr. Zoe Solomon Tamno Tonye. Good to have you on ATN Open Conversation today. And now, everyone, let's get on with the conversations, if you may. The Labour Party and other opposition party agents rejects the final results of the Bayelsa State governorship polls. The party is in a joint press briefing in Yenagoa, the state capital, through the party's representatives, Charles Oyibo Williams Parker, Joe Tubonomi, and Arlen Amadane, said, "We are not comfortable with the results because INEC cancelled votes in areas that opposition parties were winning." Labour Party's agent Oyibo said there were a lot of irregularities and flagrant abuse of Electoral Act, and beavers were bypassed and there was vote buying. The NRM agent said, "We will go to court if INEC does not review the results within 7 days." On his part, NNPP agent Tubonomi said the commission merely awarded votes, stressing that we are rejecting the results totally. Okay. Labour Party, NNPP, SDP, NRM, everyone, APC, everyone seems to be rejecting the results in Bayelsa State. What's going on?
Okay. Well, if they have heard of the losers, but what is important here, I'm not for whether the winners or losers, they are all the same. Those who lost the election didn't do anything better or good. those who won the election didn't do anything better or good. They are all the same. But what is important to point out here is that the trend our democratic process is taking is a very dangerous trend, with particular reference to elections. Our elections ordinarily are supposed to be competitive among political parties. But from what we are seeing in the last election, last Saturday, elections are becoming between political parties and the state apparatus, state agents like the police and INEC, which is a very dangerous path to take. What do I mean by that? Elections are now between a political party and the state agents, the police and INEC. And whosoever the police and INEC are favoring wins the election in every state. So the states where APC win, it doesn't mean that there was free, credible, free and fair election that they won. The states where PDP won, it doesn't mean that it was free, fair, credible election. Elections are now conducted. The will of the people in the electoral process have not been expressed, have not been achieved. It is INEC and police that is deciding, security agents generally, that is deciding our electoral outcome these days. So in that sense, if the state apparatus, like the security agents and INEC, are in favor of APC, APC will win that election. If they are in favor of PDP in any state, PDP will win in that election. That is the trend our democracy is taking. That is the trend our election process is taking, and that's not good for our democracy. If we want to enshrine democracy, if we want to develop our democracy, we must allow the will of the people, and that's the beauty of election, and that's the beauty of democracy, that the will of the people at the end of the day, it doesn't matter which party, it doesn't matter which the candidate, that at the end of the day, it is the will of the people that is expressed from the outcome of the election. And when it happens like that, election, the losers have a role to play in an election. The winning party has a role to play. When you lose an election as a political party, you become an opposition, an alternative government. Within that time frame, the winners will be in office. So you have a role to play. So you go and take the role of an opposition leader in the system and work towards and always point out the failures of the government, the party in power, to the people, and project yourself as an alternative to that party. Okay, so that in the next election cycle, you will be able to win. So election, there is no time one political party will win continuously. Okay, time will come, the other party will win. Now, political parties have made election a do or die affair, and they are using the security agencies, the state apparatus like the security agencies and INEC to achieve their electoral goals, and this is not good for our democracy. That is what is important to point out in this case where they are opposing. If they have won, PDP will do the same thing.
Now, quite interesting there. So if you look at the indices of the elections from Kogi, Imo, and Bayelsa State, one factor was replete, and that's vote buying, violence. Now, if you look at that side by side, a particular candidate, Joshua Makaiva, deputy to Timipre Silva, one of his aides was caught pants down in the act with arms and all of that. And then he made some confessions, how they use the arms for and all of that. So a particular group in the previous show we had was calling for the prosecution if investigations are carried out and he's found wanted. Why they are vote buying, and you are also talking about the role the security agencies play. The INEC is supposed to be an independent body. The security agency is supposed to be but both of them are supposed to be working for the Nigerian people. Why does it feel like when it comes to election, they only dance to the two of the government in power?
Yes, I'll look at that. It has to do with, first, the economy, and two, the innate desire for corruption among our citizens, especially government officials. These are the two factors that are driving this cause. The economy, their state, their conditions of living, these officials, and then there's this natural tendency to be corrupt, to do things corruptly in our system. So corruption has become address that issue of the young man who was caught an aide to the deputy governor. First, I want to say, I'm pleading with Nigerians. Secondly, still on that case, Nigeria as it is, the world as it is now, no information is true until investigated. Who knows the interest of that young man? Who knows if he has been bribed by another political party to take that action just to spoil his boss or whatever? Only investigated. The truth should be out. And if it is true that those confessions are true, it should be prosecuted. But of course, this is Nigeria. No prosecution will take place. Election is over, everybody goes back. Then coming back to why the for the state are doing this. I have told you, one, the economic conditions of these people working as security officers. What is the economic condition of the police officers? Okay, now, okay, I'm leaving out one thing. Now, we are quick to blame INEC. Now, INEC is a body headed by a commissioner, Mahmoud Yakubu, headed the person's decisions and naira the month, and then when they go to this election day, they go to the pool. Somebody bring 100,000 naira. Somebody bring. I learned that there was a video where a youth copper was having a million naira in his pocket, cash that very day. Now, what do you expect these people to do? From the ad hoc workers, even the professors that you're paying 400,000 naira a month, while a councillor is earning close to 1 million naira a month. And then that election day, professor account is allotted with 10 million naira. What do you expect him to do? So he will sell his conscience. He will sell the nation just to make sure he gets his own national cake, because now everybody look for a means to get his own national cake. So these are the conditions, these are the factors necessitating those the state apparatus taking parties or candidates against the states.
And so just to wrap up this particular quest by these opposition parties, isn't it interesting to you, if you may, that to have noticed that since the incident of this young man in Bayelsa State, party chief, under the party apparatus, not even his boss, there's been no official statement. Like, what happened to that young man? Isn't it interesting that there has been no conversation about that at all?
Yes,
have you seen any?
Yes. No. I told you now, this is Nigeria. This is how things work. It's a country where nothing works. Because that person, who, in the first place, who were the people videoing him? It's very important to know. Were they security officials? Who caught him? What was the crime? What was the action that was carrying on? Because we just saw him in a video with bullets, ammunition. But does that mean he has committed a crime? So these are the things. And the police is supposed to make an arrest by now. We're supposed to hear in the news. You have to invite them for it, because he has mentioned name. Because in a crime, no one man, he has mentioned name. And very prominent name for that matter. So they are supposed to invite those people, question them. INEC itself is supposed to make a statement if they have this, and the political parties are supposed to come out to say we disassociate with this person, we don't know who he's working for. Even the individual he mentioned, the deputy governor, his name is at stake, his reputation is at stake. But this is Nigeria for you, where nothing works, where nothing happens, where anything can happen. You know, there's this advert by CNN, they say, expect the unexpected inside the Middle East. If they come to Nigeria, they will refer to Nigeria. That statement.
That's a good one to wrap that up there. Now, the candidate of Labour Party and the People's Democratic Party in the last Saturday's governorship election in Imo State, Senator Arthur Nachono and Senator Samuel Anyanwu, gives the Independent National Electoral Commission a 7-day ultimatum to review the November 11 poll. The duo, in a joint press conference in Owerri, the state capital, starting with Senator Anyanwu, said, "I feel so ashamed with what the INEC has done. INEC promised a free, fair and credible elections, but empty vehicles were moved to Owerri for voters from Osu LGA. They used armored vehicles or security operatives to carry out these irregularities. Osu gave about 18,000 votes. This election is a charade. There must be a review of these results. How come a police officer was caught on video carrying ballot boxes? It was not an election," he said. "It was a war." Anyanwu said over 70% there was no collation of results. This is a PDP state where governorship election took 2 days to conduct. The INEC has 7 days to review these elections or cancel it outrightly. As for Senator Anyanwu, the PDP candidate, For Senator Achonu, the Labour Party candidate, he said where there was accreditation results were already uploaded before 10 a.m. That is even when voting was ongoing. From the information available to us, it's even the electoral officers that were sharing money to other INEC officials and at the same time gave them already written results to upload. We have written to the INEC chairman calling for a total review of the election or outright cancellation of the election. That was why the chairman of Labour Party called on the INEC to check the IREF for authority. They did not listen to him because they had planned it. You see these revelations here, they're a bit scary. Or maybe they are quite scared. Let me not even say a bit scary. That's because, how do you, let's say Achonu is correct, that by 10 a.m., accreditation and voting are still going on. Results was already on IREF. Remember that same thing played out in Kogi State, where Senator Dino said, got some people with pre-filled election result. Now, I don't know how much crime should be experienced on an election day to cancel the elections. Here again is this alarm. That's a 7-day ultimatum for INEC to review. Do you see anything coming out of this?
There is no need for 7 days ultimatum. To begin with, they that are complaining, did they fare better? They are only talking about the crimes of other people to justify their own position. What are the crimes they committed? Like I told you, there is no different person in this whole thing. They all committed crimes. It's because now in the election in Nigeria now, the one who commit the highest crime wins the election, not the one who lures the highest voters. Is the one who commit the highest crime, who is with the security apparatus, whose INEC is favoring, is the one who wins the election. So unfortunately, these things didn't work for these people. Okay? That is why it is happening like this. But it's unfortunate. Let's talk about the crime. These are things that are happening in 21st century. In Nigeria, it's quite unfortunate that this is a path we are taking. And that's what we are talking about. So, it's not enough. Giving an ultimatum is not necessary. They should go to the court. That's what the Constitution provides. They should take these evidences. If they have them, they should take them to the court, make their case. But again, the courts, people always blame the courts. People always talk about the bias of the courts. The courts, there's a way the courts work. I have been privileged to be going to court because of a private matter I am having with the state institution. And I came to find out that the court is a different place altogether. Okay? The court is a place of evidence. If you are accused, you must bring evidence. I have come to see the court in such a way that the judge of a court can see a crime being committed on her way to her court. She can see a crime being committed. But if that case is brought to her court, she doesn't have any business. She cannot confirm it. The judge, he or she cannot confirm it. You have to bring the evidence before the court. Okay? So when we are blaming the court, we should know that the court operates with evidence. So you can accuse, you can make statements in the media, you can make claims in the media. But when you come before a court of law, you come with the evidence. So these people, these claims they have made, I believe they have evidence. Why? And that's what is giving them the confidence to come to the public and make press statements. So they should gather their evidence. There's no need giving INEC ultimatum. INEC is, I don't know, it's such an arrogant institution. They don't have conscience. Quite unfortunate. I'm sorry to say. It's an institution I love so much. It's an institution I want to grow, to develop, so that because our democracy is in the hands of INEC. But unfortunately, the people, the actors in INEC are acting without conscience. There was a video, I think it's in Imo State, where the opposition party are crying. Look, you cannot continue, you cannot begin to collate and announce results. We have a pending case here. The presiding officer was saying that we can't take, it is not, see, there are ways for patriotism, okay? There are ways you act. It is not against the law. It may not be expressly stated in the Constitution, but it is not against the law. If you take on moral grounds, you take some action. Okay, let's listen to you. What are you saying? Do you have concrete evidence? Okay, bring those evidence. Then you pass it. Of course, it's an ad hoc worker.
So can I ask you a question now?
Yes.
If I come to your house and I steal something, and I know I stole something, and everybody is looking for it. If you now say you want to search everybody's bag, who is the first person that would object to
It's the
searching
person
their
who
bag.
have stole the
So I'm saying that because they have also all said that INEC pre-planned it. Achono said that INEC pre-planned it.
Yes.
Now ask yourself another question. These are coalition officers in Imo State. Also, there's a particular video that came from Osu local government. There was no election, but we saw INEC officers carrying out the election themselves from the video. Now, if you go back to another incident, which is the fact that Yaga Africa, an observer group, several persons have pointed out that, hey, Ikeduru, Oru East, Oru West, Osu, and several other places, Idato East, Idato North, COP even came out, not just Yaga Africa, several have come and said, election did not hold in this place. Now, Achon is saying that as at 10 a.m., they have evidence that you already have results in the IREV. When did you feel it? Who signed it? We don't know. Kogi complained of the same thing. Why do you now think that in the face of all of this accusation, INEC that should be worried wasn't perturbed? We did exactly what they did at the presidential election when Dino was lamenting about the result that we're declaring, saying, no, this is not in tandem with what we got. And they've done the same thing with Imo State, at least Imo State and Kogi State.
Yes, that's what I'm telling you now. INEC is working with that conscience. Because human beings, the first thing that defines our attitude is our conscience. As it were, I was just giving you a scenario where somebody was complaining, crying.
And that was why I gave you that instance. If I'm the one responsible for your cry, am I going to listen to you? If I'm the one responsible for your cry, am I going to listen to you?
That's the situation. That's the helplessness and hopelessness we found ourselves. And that's why I'm saying that at this point, there is no need. That's why I said giving INEC ultimatum is of no use. Because INEC will not listen. They won't do anything. They have done their bidding for whoever they want to do their bidding for. So what you do now, gather this evidence. Of course, there are no elections in those places. How do you cook up the results? How come INEC officials are the ones doing the election themselves? So these are the evidence you bring before the court. And we are praying. The courts and INEC have a lot of role to sustain our democracy. See, there is limit to what people can take. Okay? The whole of these things, we are cooking up something that at the end of the day, Nigerians will rise against, and there will be a revolution, which Showere has been talking about.
I was just going to call for that Showere's video. Now let's see if the producer can get it on. You know, there is a concern I personally have with all of this. When I was discussing the Showere video, I said, if you push, someone once told me that a goat naturally is not a fighter.
Yes.
But if you keep pushing a goat, hitting at a goat gets to a certain wall. And when it gets there,
yes,
it has no choice but to use whether the horn or whatever, everything and fight. At this point, with this glaring evidence that came out of the off-season election, the ones from the presidential and governorship election that are not being attended to right now, would anyone blame Nigerians for taking actions that are maybe inimical, for instance, to Nigeria as it is right now?
Yes.
If someone is crying, say a video where someone is crying.
No, you beat somebody and you say don't cry.
No, the video you saw. I want to bring that. I want to go for the Showere video. Okay, let's take the Showere video. We'll come back to this.
Okay.
It is pointless chasing a rat when your house is on fire. Nigeria needs a revolution or else. Nigerians must understand that unless something drastic happens, we cannot have elections that are won on the basis of ideas. As things stand in Nigeria today, our successive governments have destroyed the basis for any progressive politics. You cannot have a country where young people who are brilliant, who have ideas, are told to run for councillors, while people with antiquated ideas are recommended to be presidential candidates. And even they become president. That's why the country is the way it is today. Unless a revolution happens in this country, same way they had in Sudan, probably in Algeria, it's going to be difficult to have free and fair elections. I am saying it so that we're not under any illusion that somehow, if we continue to talk, it is not a battle of wits, that the democratic space will open for us to have a country where good people, great ideas can lead the country. As we chanted during our recent protest march in Maryland area of Lagos, In Nigeria, where just 5 people will be richer than 200 million people, call it work. In Nigeria, where your NEPA bill is greater than your house rent, call it work. To the skeptics who say Nigerians are too apathetic and divided to rise up for a revolution or up to a revolution, I say this: hunger doesn't know ethnicity, insecurity doesn't know religion, and when Nigeria becomes a better place, it won't matter where you come from. The time for revolution is now, and it will not be televised.
Cases of injustice being experienced by Nigerians, from the judiciary to the political class to INEC to what have you. As we speak, there's supposed to be a nationwide shutdown as a result of the labor strike, from what happened to Ajero to the demands that labor have been making that the government don't seem to understand or even know how best to address some of these issues. Can anyone blame a Showore for taking the position he's taking right now?
Not at all. In fact, let me say a little thing about Showore. Showore is the lone voice in the wilderness crying for justice. I can tell you from my findings, Showore is the only person, is the only politician, he was the only candidate in the last election that is sincere, truthful, and meant well for this country. But unfortunately, Nigerians look the other way around. Let me tell you the truth. In this country, we are wasting our time and we are deceiving ourselves. For this country to move on, Showere's solution is the only answer, which is a revolution. It can come in any way. Now, there is a common saying that if you make peaceful change impossible, you make violent change inevitable. We are already there. It's just that Nigerians, they have this shock-absorbing tendency. They can take anything. If not, the last December financial crisis caused by Emefiele was enough for Nigerians to revolt. But I was shocked. Some of us were ready. As I talk to you, and mind you, there are a lot of Showeres. I am a Showere here. There are a lot of Showeres, and we are ready. But you can't be ready alone. Okay? People must follow you. That Martin Luther King succeeded in America was because the black Americans were ready to go with him. Unfortunately, in Nigeria, there is a black American who said, I can't remember his name now, he said, each time he's fighting for Africans, he uses one hand to fight for Africa. Do you know what the other hand is doing? The other hand is using to protect himself from the same Africans he's fighting for. That's what Showere is going through.
Now, I understand we can go on and on and on and on and on in all of the. You have said an ultimatum is not the key.
It's not the key.
It's not the key.
INEC will not answer. They won't pay attention to it. The INEC that conducted the last election. See, there is no conscience. See, when I see those professors declaring those results, and we're all in this country, they made money and send their children abroad. But one day, it will swallow all of us in this country. The actions they are taking. What is taught you? Look at what happened in Abia State. Look at that woman. She said, I'm not taking a dime. She refused all pressures. And she put her name in the book of history. That is how we can save this country. We have to start individually and then move it. When people see that you are ready, look at how the backup she had, the encouragement, the people rally around her. Why can't we rally around Showere? Showere is the man to take this country to the next level. Because I have looked at the man. I discovered this young man in 2018. Where he was speaking before British and American audience. The courage with which he told them their corruption and what they are doing to Nigeria. I went, research about this young man. And I discovered that this young man has integrity. He has capacity, he has courage, he has competence, and he's patriotic. This is a man who has a life to live in America, but he left it.
Does he have money?
That is the problem. Nigeria should be the money for Showere. Nigeria should come out and be the money for Showere.
Listen. We are talking about a senator in Imo State who contested the election, right? And then it didn't pan out well for him. The next story we're going to is how he has gone back to take over his party office. And then we'll go into all of this. How do you drive a revolution without money?
That's the problem.
You're talking about the crimes committed both by INEC and the security agencies.
Yes.
Who appoints INEC officials?
Government, politicians.
Who appoints security officials? So when these people commit a crime and they are the ruling party, who is going to prosecute them?
In fact, INEC...
If Showore decides to say, okay, I want to prosecute everybody who is involved in this, where is he taking them to?
It's very possible.
It's possible, but
yes.
Where is he taking them to? Who is going to fund that?
See, INEC, as far as I'm concerned, INEC is an administrative unit of the ruling party.
Exactly so.
Yes. And you ask a question without money, how is it going to...
how do you drive a process that you think has a national interest?
It's very possible. The people at this point should be the money.
The people, sorry, who are the people?
The Nigerian populace.
The people, is it the same
people
who
are on the receiving end?
How many of these Nigerians who are suffering are willing to dare the odds?
That is the problem. That is the dilemma we find ourselves.
Anyway, we keep having this conversation, everyone. A Federal Capital Territory High Court orders Senator Anyanwu to stop parading himself as the National Secretary of the People's Democratic Party following his resumption to office as the party National Secretary. The court order is a sequel to a suit seeking order of interlocutory injunction to stop the PDP from recognizing Senator Anyanwu as their national secretary, secretary of the party, pending the determination of the substantive suit. Now, you recall that a video posted by the PDP on their X page showed an alerted staff of the party's national secretariat welcoming Senator Anyanwu as he arrived at his office at the Wadata Plaza. He said, "Thank you very much. Thank you all for your support and your prayers. You are very strong, very strong. It's not over yet. Thank you for everything. I appreciate you," Senator Anyanwu said as he settled down for the day's business. And then an hour or two later, the court order came up. Now, the sit-tight syndrome. The idea that the only relevance you can have is within... Remember, we're talking about a Showore who is calling for a revolution, and I'm asking who are those who are going to drive the revolution. People are there thanking him, hailing him, supporting him. So we talk about the sit-tight syndrome. We talk about the impact of this to our development. There was someone, Atiku was talking about that they need to have these parties to merge. I think that was yesterday, to merge themselves so they can become a formidable opposition and all of that. How do you achieve that with individuals who don't know when to stop, whose only interest is me, myself, and I?
Well, this happened in a country where the laws are not respected. Okay? If there are laws, when you are leaving an office to go and contest a public office, if there are laws that say you must have resigned his position.
So ought to have.
Yeah, so why do you have to come back? Because you lost an election. That office ordinarily should have been occupied by someone else, because it's an administrative office that shouldn't be in vacuum. But this is Nigeria for you. The law is what it is to who it favors. The law is, when it favors you, that's when the law is inactive. Is right. After all, they don't respect the law. They don't follow he may even disobey the court order, and nothing will happen. And these are the parties that are saying the alternative. This is a party that is saying it wants to take over power. In fact, I don't sympathize with PDP losing election. In fact, APC have not done to them 10% of what they did to other parties when they were in office for 60 years. Vivian, you're in this country where they will win election. Even till today, the states they are holding, they are saying, how can, for example, take a River State, for example, 23 local government areas, okay, where you have several parties. One party will win the 23 local government chairmanship seats, including all the councillors. Where is it done? There is no miracle like that. It is that bad. That is how bad PDP is. And they will suffer more, because another wicked party like them have taken over. And while they were in power perpetrating wickedness for the 16 years, APC was learning from their wickedness. And you know, the learner is always better than the coach. And that's what is happening to PDP. So concerning this PDP secretary, it's a case of lawlessness. It's a case where laws are not respected. He will even go ahead not to obey the court order. That's the situation we find ourselves. We are in an animal kingdom, I'm sorry to say.
All right. While we look at the Shore's revolution call and the outcome of the key players in Nigerian political sector, we'll take a short break. We'll come back to you after now.
Representing people. Mr. President, my people are under siege.
I will place economic stability and confidence.
To condemn this act and call for the immediate release of this minister in the Temple of God.
Access to our money we put in the bank. POS operator, she said 3,000 naira is 1,000 to collect 3,000 naira. Where are we heading to?
I've always said there are two sets of people on earth, the oppressors and the oppressed. And in between are the cowards and the hypocrites, which are you.
No matter how tough the challenge, how high the obstacles, we always overcome.
What Nigerians need now is not about the Tonte. Who can come and salvage us from where we are?
Representing people. Mr. President, my people are under siege.
I will place
Access to our money.
I've always said there are two sets of people on earth, the oppressors and the oppressed. And in between are the cowards and the hypocrites, which are you.
No matter how tough.
Now it's not about the Tonte. Who can come and salvage us from where we are?
Welcome back to Atlantic Television Network Open Conversation, everyone. Now let's get into Ondo State, I beg your pardon. The race to Ondo State Government House is taking shape as a former member of the House of Representatives, Honorable Mayon Akin Folarin, declares that he is the best amongst the lots to succeed Governor Rotimi Akeredolu. Akin Folarin, who spoke with newsmen in the state capital Akure, said, "In terms of experience, I'm better than all of them because I've contested election 7 times and I've won 5 times. None of them can prove of such credential. When I was in PDP, the whole of Ondo South Senatorial District were all from PDP. It was when I left PDP for APC that APC was able to have 1 representative at the National Assembly. So I was the face of APC when I was in the House of Representatives. If not for me, no APC will be mentioned in the Ondo Southern Senatorial District. If the party picked me today, the whole of PDP will be empty. I am the best of all of them in terms of political experience, in terms of taking care of party members. My personality can win election anytime, any day, in any part of the state. I have a very solid and formidable structure. I am the best, most solid, most acceptable of all of them." I think we should give me a round of applause.
Yes.
I don't think I've read anything like this in recent time.
It's very compelling. It's very persuading and it's intimidating to the opponent.
I don't think I've read anything like this in recent
But
time.
that's how it ought to be. In the political campaign, you give persuading position.
Yeah. It's the level at which he exerts himself.
Yes. And if those credentials are there, this is what you want. I don't know. After his credential, the next thing you should talk about is what he will do for the people.
Maybe that will come later.
Okay, yes.
Maybe he wants to win the party primaries first.
No, you don't need to win the party primary. From the day set you are ready to contest an election and you make public statement about that, your policies should be the discussion.
I agree.
It is very good to present your credentials.
In a normal world, yes, I agree. But this is Nigeria.
But there's one thing. He said he knows how to take care of party members. Not Ondo people. That is where there is a problem.
That's why I said I think his concern in this conversation should be primarily on getting the party ticket.
Okay.
But when he gets the party ticket, he cannot begin to tell them, you know
people,
how I did this, I can spread it the whole local
government. I can take care of
government.
party people, I can take care of Ondo.
Now let's talk about Edo State politics and issues emanating from the government of Edo State and the APC. For quite some time, there has been this uproar about impeachment of the deputy governor, and now the governor himself not being operating in absentia, if you may, after his return from the medical leave. With all of this and the House of Assembly that is pushing to impeach the deputy governor against all odds, and the chief judge that seemed not to have been interested in setting up the 7-man panel. Now this is another APC member who is going for the jugular. This is my thing. Avrakas between the deputy governor and the governor of the state assembly, considering the impact of this in the PDP at the presidential election for the G5 issue.
Yes. A house that have an in-house fighting cannot go to war against the opponent. That is just the case. So I think it's very important at this point, because they are going into election early next year. They should put their hearts together. And I don't know why the governor is taking this path with his deputy. When he was away, they could understand that there are interested people in all these things. They will feed him with lies, but he is a father of the state. He should be able to, I don't know this issue of governors and deputy governors, and it's always towards elections. And I know the problem. The problem is the deputy governors are interested in their boss's job, and that's where the problem is. But as a governor, if you can't work with your deputy to the extent that you safely hand over, if your deputy is interested, you give him that support, because the person has given you support for the last 4 years to run your government. So why can't you, in the first place when you're picking a deputy, you're picking somebody you think you can give power to, you can hand over to, that can be governor if you're not there. It's a something of trust. So why is that distrust coming towards the end of the tenure, where the deputy governor is having interest and then the governor have someone, this kind of thing. But the most important thing, if they want to win the election in those states, they should be able to put their house together so that they can make progress as a party.
Absolutely. So the All Progressive Congress says its victory was clear and convincing at Saturday's all-cycle governorship election of the state, and not afraid of litigations, and call for the arrest and prosecution of PDP candidates over claims to back-end access of INEC server. Mr. Kingsley Fanwant, spokesperson, Director of Media and Publicity, Kogi APC Governorship Campaign Council, in a news conference in Lokoja on Tuesday, said it is laughable for a candidate who claimed to win only in his zone to be crying foul and calling for the cancellation of the results of the areas where he was massively rejected. It is akin to a poor student who scored 20% in a test to call for the cancellation of the 80% he missed to make him score 100%. Our candidate and now the governor-elect, Alhaji Usman Ododo, won the election across the 3 senatorial districts, while the candidate of the Social Democratic Party, Alhaji Moritala Yakubu Ajaka, claimed to have won in his own senatorial district alone. He didn't win any local government area in the west or central. Ododo won all the local government areas in 2 of the 3 senatorial districts and went ahead to win 1 local government area in the east senatorial district. For claiming to have access to the back-end server of INEC is like walking into the prison yard and demanding to be locked up. Security agencies have no tedious job to do on a suspect who confesses to a crime. Dido Melaya has openly confessed that he hacked into the back-end of INEC. Melaya should be arrested and prosecuted for cybercrime. He also thanked President Bola Tinubu for creating a level playing ground for all the candidates and during the election. He said the governor-elect Alhaji Usman Ododo will not disappoint you all. Governor Yahaya Bello has made it easy for the APC to continue to win election in Kogi State with his heroics in all the sectors of the economy. I want to start from the point where he's talking about Ododo winning all the elections and all of that. I want to start from there, and here is the reason. Is Kingsley Fanwant talking about the same Kogi State where we saw refilled election results? A lot of pundits have said that by standard that election ought to be cancelled. How do you overlook. The same INEC, by the way, said 59 polling units are going to conduct election there by Saturday, except they've changed their mind after declaring Ododo the winner, because we don't understand that anymore. Because in Adamawa, you said you cannot declare a winner until the elections are complete. That was why when Yari declared, Binani was declared the governor-elect, you said no. The elections are still going on. Now, there is an issue that directly indicts you that has to do with pre-field election. INEC is yet to give us the names of his people. There are people who were involved in this. Against the farmer is saying, Ododo won. When you say he won all, so what it means is that the issues that has to do with these polling units is not important. Everyone should shut up and go home. For example, Tinubu provided level playing field.
Well, I will look at it from this point. It is a good thing that Dino Malaye did not win that election.
Why?
It is also not a good thing that APC won the election in states.
I'm trying to understand this.
Yes. Dino Malaye, as far as I'm concerned, is a dramatist. Is someone who does not know what the ordinary Kogi people are going through.
You think so?
He's a man
Did you follow his campaign?
I've followed Dino Malaye. See,
I'm talking about his campaign.
See, these people take advantage of the situation on ground at any given time.
Okay.
That's what they are doing. What's his name? Yaya Bello is a total failure. As far as I'm concerned, he's a failure and a disappointment to the Nigerian youth, because he came in within the youth bracket to become governor. He has frustrated the lives of the Kogi people for the last 8 years. So it's unfortunate that somebody he brought will not take over. So it's a continuation of Yaya Bello. Then in the part of Dino Malaye, you see Dino Malaye, the kind of life he lives. How can he be a role model to the ordinary Nigerians, especially the youths that are struggling to survive? Somebody who drive car to his bedroom?
But your president is said to have forged his results.
But that's the situation. It's everywhere. This is why we are talking about show whereas. This is why we are talking about the show whereas part.
No, if you're
coming to the election,
coming
to the election. That's just my personal opinion between the two parties and individuals involved.
Okay.
The election where there are polling units where the INEC said they are going to conduct election, and then they have declared winner is in two ways. It's either those polling units where they are going to conduct election will not make any serious impact. Okay, it will not make any difference on the outcome of the election they have already announced. That should be the possible reason. If not, there is no reason why you should announce election when there are polling units remaining that you have to conduct election. Because what the impact of those votes are important in the electoral process, in the outcome of the election. But if INEC have concluded, considering the numbers of those polling units, if they will not make any difference, even though the elections go one way or the other, they will not make any difference on what they have already gotten, then they can go ahead and announce the result. But again, you made mention of the Adamawa state. Again, INEC, it depends who they want to favor and how they want to favor. And that's how the law works in Nigeria.
It's okay. So, with the pre-filled results sheets, Kingsley, that's not important, but one of the things he pointed out, for him, they've won. It doesn't matter what anybody says. And
for
go
him
for the
to say the president giving
a level playing ground,
yes, for rigging
of the local government areas. Now, this guy is saying, how did you get that? According to Dino said he has access to the bank. I said, the police should pick up Dino Malaye, arrest him. I mean,
why would they arrest if he has access to evidence that will make his case for him?
He said he has according to Kingsley said that, how do you have access to someone's bank, INEC's bank
we're in a technology. If you have, I don't know if Dino make that claim. But if you have evidence, if there is any means you can get evidence, okay? If I come here, you're stealing, and I have to prove that you're stealing. If I have my phone, anything that I can use to, video you to show that you're stealing, why won't I do it? The most important thing that shouldn't be the case for him. What should be the case for him is what Dino Malaye is claiming. Is it true? That's what we are going to find out in the court of law.
Even if Dino,
why will he be claiming to arrest somebody?
So even if Dino indeed broke into INEC's back end, I'm just saying
that they are official criminals. Dino,
language, please.
I'm sorry, you can't take Dino for in this case, in quotes, he can sue him. But Dino Malaya also have the right to bring evidence before the court to make his case. That's the point
you
I'm
mean
making.
Irrespective of
yes,
how he got the
irrespective
evidence?
of, yes, that's the point I'm making.
It's okay. We are in Nigeria after all, so all things are possible.
Expect the unexpected inside Nigeria.
You're still here then, quotes. That's not fair. A former Deputy National Publicity Secretary of the All Progressive Congress, Timi Frank, in reaction to the off-season elections, laments the level of electoral fraud and its impact to 2027 elections. According to Mr. Timi, in a statement he issued on Tuesday, he said the election has nothing to write home about. And to imagine that it was the first set of elections conducted under the watch of President Tinubu, what happened in Imo and Kogi is a clear indication of the kind of election Nigerians will witness in 2027. He said our electoral system is presently in dire straits under our highly compromised Independent National Electoral Commission, which has now graduated from rigging by manipulating the INEC result view portal and the bimodal voter accreditation system to writing results of polling units before the people cast their ballots. Mr. Frank said the judiciary, which he claimed had become APC's legal department, would legalize whatever the INEC had done. This is so. The ending is just so sad. It's like the Horua, the Human Rights Association, telling political oppositions in this election, please don't bother going to court. You're going to waste your money. According to them, that the judiciary has become a cash and carry institute and all of that. So according to Mr. Timi Frank, a very critical point he made there is that this is the first election on that field. So whatever you saw now, just rest assured that's what you're going to see in 2027. How critical is that? Should we take such statements if it's anything to go by?
Yes, I thank him for making that analysis. Of course, that is the situation of things in this country right now. But again, it all depends where he's speaking from. Say former member, former APC.
Yeah.
Yes. Is he still an APC person?
I wouldn't know.
Because we will take him serious if he's still an APC member.
No, but there are some APC people who are playing opposition inside the APC, like Salih Lukman.
So if that is the case, he's likely
he hasn't
to speak
come.
against,
I don't think he has come out to say he's no longer a member.
But this is the situation with the country. And in fact, it is going to be worse in 2027 because they will upgrade. That's just the truth. What we have seen is going to be a child's play with what is going to come in 2027. But he casts aspersion on the judiciary. I am still very much reserved about the judiciary. I don't want to go with the crowd in accusing the judiciary. Yes, of course, there's a saying that in a lawless society, a law-abiding citizen is a criminal. There's a saying like that. Again, remember, a system has several units, and no unit can function independently. In other words, the judiciary is in the Nigerian system, already corrupt system. So no matter how they want to be just and fair, that corruption, that tendency, we want to play out. Remember, they are also human. Okay? That's the reason why I don't want to totally accuse the judiciary. Again, there are ways things work in the court. It is not about what you say in the media. It is the evidence you bring before the court. Okay? But then the court, the judges have moral responsibility because they are the moral image of the society. I'll give you an example. The judgment they made in favor of Diri in Bayelsa State, okay, in the last election that brought Diri. That case is supposed to be a moral case. Now, they created something. I used that case to do a research and I came out with two concepts: morality and legitimacy. Okay? Now, they gave somebody's mandate to somebody else for a crime that the person did not commit. The judge are supposed to look at that case very well before they came with that judgment. The governor have not committed any crime. His deputy committed a crime. I told you earlier that something may not be explicitly written in the document of the Constitution, but there are decisions you will take that is not illegal, that is not against the law, even though it is not expressly written. That is where the judges should have functioned. Why are you taking now? By taking the mandate of Leon and giving to Diri or whatever, they deny the people, the Bayelsa people, their mandate. So
How is that different from what happened in Imo State?
Yes, exactly. So Diri does not have the legitimacy to govern the people. Okay, he only has the mandate.
He doesn't have the people's legitimacy.
Legitimacy, yes, but he has a constitutional power because the judiciary gave him the same thing they did in 2007 in Rivers State. So these are the things the judges should be. There is what we call judicial activism. The judges should be able to exercise judicial activism when it comes to morality and saving the conscience of the country. That is where I will be calling out to the judiciary. But to totally bypass and cast aspersion on them, I won't do that for now. They are still trying in the circumstances we found ourselves.
All right, let's look at the core part of this conversation, which we've touched on, but let's go a bit further into that. The 2023 election that brought President Bola Ahmed Tinubu to power is not just been questioned by several persons, it's been questioned by international observers, European Union particularly. If you bring that to bear on what has played out, what a lot of people term the charade that played out in the Saturday off-season election, to some of the people, they expected it, they were not perturbed because it's what it is. If this is anything to go by, should any political party or anybody bother with going for elections in 2027? Here is a catch to that. I don't know why you're laughing already. If we now know that with this device, INEC called Beavers, and the IRF soft version of it, that way you now upload the result from the Beavers. Now that we know that there is a way to manipulate it, all you need to do is write the results. Remember that a Nigerian is Benani, the senator from the Adamawa lady, is alleged to have been the one who owned the printing media that printed the materials for INEC. Okay, so if what it means is that if I can write results, if any can get them the document from INEC or from the company that printed it, or you need to pay extra money, and then the result sheets are filled, you already know the people who are going to man these polling units. If all they need to do is find a way to upload it, I'm trying to paint a picture here. Upload it into the Beavers, scan it, or then put on the IRF. If all they need to do is something as simple as that, to become a governor or a president, those who don't have the power to control INEC or to check the system, you don't have the police, you don't have the INEC, is there any reason why they should go into election in 2027?
Well, we can't. It's a process. The election is the process that brings in elected officers. And as long as we're in democracy and we are choosing the path of election for our democratic process, we will do election. But it's up to individual parties. For me, they can decide not to participate in the electoral process.
No, what is the essence? That's what I want to find out.
But what is, again, what
if you
is
don't
the
have the
essence?
security, you don't have INEC on your side.
It's a very sorry situation.
And if it's so easy for all to write results and you give Vivian, your party, Vivian, slots it in while accreditation is still going on. What power do you have?
It brings us back to what Shuwere is saying. And we can see, the people that are doing these things are just a few people. They are very few in number. For instance, in Rivers State, the person who is calling the shot in Rivers is just one man, using very few people. So if the mass of the people, let me give you an example. Let me use what happened in Rivers State to give you an example. It's just one man in Rivers State that have been calling the shot. He became so powerful. But the recent event where the sitting governor stood up and said, let what will happen, happen. But you must tell, I'm not afraid of impeachment, but you must tell Rivers people what I have done wrong for you to impeach me. Did you see what happened? Rivers people rally around this governor, especially the youths. They rally around him. But when the people say no, and that is why we are calling that, Nigeria should come up. We should rally around the likes of Sowore, and there are a lot of Sowore in different local government and state, that we can take back our country. Elections can be done free and fairly in this country, and winners and losers will accept the process.
All right, so speaking of towards 2027 election, because that's the next part of the conversation now, with the monopolistic convergence of power in Nigeria, where the ruling party, whoever they are at the time, controls the institutes of government that should be serving the people. We talked about the INEC, we talked about police and the security generally. and the role this will play in our elections. The 10th Senate was in Akwa Ibom recently, and part of the conversation they were having there is how to unbundle INEC, among several other, towards its elections. Do you think that unbundling INEC can limit the power of the ruling party when it comes to electioneering? How possible is that? What are some, you've talked about Showere and how people should begin to rally around people like that to see how they can make the necessary changes. Do you see any of this panning out in any way, on bundling INEC or, ensuring that there is total electronic voting in Nigeria? What are some of the things you think that we can begin to look at when it comes to electioneering and politics for 2027?
There is nothing these people that are in power will do that will make any difference, even any atom of difference. There is nothing, because it's all, even when they are making the law, they are looking at it from the point of where they will benefit. So as far as this crop of leaders we have in Nigeria, particularly with the kind of the president and the process that have brought him to power, there is nothing they will do. The only alternative now left for Nigeria and Nigerians is for Nigerians to begin to, and of course, let the Showeres begin to educate these people. We need to use also the media to begin to educate our people, the ordinary people on the street, that look, it is time for us to take our government, our destiny in our hand. And how do we do it? We have to overthrow these people, one way or the other. There is what we can do to begin to organize and mobilize ourselves to wait for them in 2027. So whatever upgrade they have done to manipulate the process in 2027, the Nigerians youth will be there. We will wait for them. If we can do it in NSAS protest, if we can survive the financial crisis in December, Nigerians can come together and we can overthrow these evil people in power. I'm sorry to use the word, but that is what it is in this country.
So you don't think on bundling INEC
it will not make any difference. It will not make any difference.
So what you're advocating, if I understand you correctly,
is the people taking over their government. Revolution is the way forward. I don't know the form, but revolution is the only way to bring out this country out of the quagmire we found ourselves.
All right. We hope it's not the kind of Labour Party revolution where they've shut down Nigeria. But now, let's continue with the conversation, the last one for today. A group under the People's Democratic Party called the PDP Umbrella Force blames the party losses in the just concluded Imo and Kogi State governorship elections on poor leadership at the national level. The group, in an open letter issued by its convener, Prince Yemi Adebowale, said this weekend's losses highlights the need to change the way our party operates as the alienation of critical stakeholders and off-cycle elections. So that's just the bit I want to take from that later. Before we go into this critically, was there an election? Was there an election? Was there actual losses? If all of these facts have been pulled out from this...
No. There is no election in the last Saturday. You remember now, you were calling me to come to know that we'll talk about... There is no need. I know they have written the results. I know INEC is working for the parties that they have interest. I know the security agencies...
That's an accusation you cannot do.
But what they are there in the public, the videos are there. Is it me that is saying it? They are there. Of course, Fela said if you take me to the court, we will open books. That is what is happening. See, there is no election. Let's be frank. Have you heard me congratulate any of them? Is the highest bidder. So the last presidential election, all of them rigged. All the presidential major, apart from Showere, of course, he went to his village and voted and went and relaxed in his house. You can imagine when they were fighting all over. The man was doing jogging on the street, enjoying himself. The major candidates, from Atiko, P2B, Tunobu, all of them rigged. But the highest rigger, you not seeing the videos in the social media?
I'm not.
Labour Party pressing, women pressing double times for Labour Party. Are you not seeing the people sharing money?
No. But if someone pressed twice, the Beavers is not going to pick it. So we're going to pick one. If I even have to overrule it in fear.
All of them rigged. The evidences are there. The point is
you can't
the highest rigger won the election.
This is an assumption.
In fact, let me tell you, let me end with this. The last 2023 election is the best free and fairest election Nigeria has ever conducted outside the 1999 election.
So why do you think they rigged then?
You know why I said it is the best and fairest? It is the election who gave opportunity to all the major candidates to do what they can do in their place of strength. And that's how they won the elections. In their place of strength. What did the magic for Tinubu was
Did
that
Tinubu win in his place of strength?
Yes, I forget Lagos. Lagos and Abuja, those are metropolitan places. We should understand that we have educated. We isolate Lagos and Abuja. They all win in their place of strength where they rig the elections. Okay, what made the difference for Tinubu was that he had some supporters in the north. That was what made the difference. So it was the highest rigger who won the election. They all rigged. Until all of them are ready for free and fair election, this is how the cycle will continue.
All right, let's talk about these people. According to this group of persons, the reason why they lost the election is because of the intra-party crisis in the PDP, and pointed at the national party, national leadership as the reason for that. So let's assume there was an election, and the reason why PDP lost in Kogi and Imo State was because of the fight that's been existing. I also learned that's why Atiku lost the election. But these fights at the national level in the PDP officially became a G5 thing, and the G5 leader is cooling off as an FCT minister right now, no skin pain. The four G5 who don't know what their fate is. The party itself is in a state of quagmire. Nobody knows where they are, whether they are moving on or not, from the state level to the national. The party called the People's Democratic Party. Do you think they are ready to be a political party? Is there anything left in them to fight? Because in the midst of their presidential candidate losing the election, the PDP governors forum are pledging allegiance to the president of Nigeria, who is also not a member of their party.
Yes, no. The answer is no. And I will say this. First, let's make that fact clear. There was no election. Let's not deceive ourselves. Okay. Frankly speaking, there was no election. But you know, again, a house divided against itself cannot stand. Is it PDP? There's a big lesson to learn from what is happening in PDP. The major lesson to learn from what is happening to PDP is the fact that PDP, the people in PDP are not organized enough to provide leadership. He believes in character. Character is everything. Yet, he is in PDP, he is in APC.
What are you referring to?
We are referring to the Minister of the Federal Capital Territory. How can such a party stand? Look, go to America. Between the Republicans, recently they were trying to elect the Speaker of the House in the Congress. It took them more than 2 weeks. The Democrats could not release one vote in support of the Republicans. The Republicans being in majority, even if they have crisis, they were sensible to vote in a way that they never lose out the speakership to the Democrats. There is nothing you will do that the Republicans and Democrats will meet. There is no meeting point because of their ideologies.
A clearly defined ideology.
Clearly defined ideologies. The Republican believes in gun, citizens having gun. The Democrats are against it. The Democrats believe in abortion. So there is no point. That is, politics is driven by ideology. Unfortunately, there are no ideologies in our political parties, and that is why it becomes an individual thing. How can one man hold sway the party in the midst of the election, and the party cannot stand up to suspend such a person that is speaking against them even in the daytime?
So now let's bring it to the last statement we read from Atiku Abubakar, which is the convergence of other political parties to stand against the ruling party
for their interests.
Now, let's look at that and look at his role so far. I don't know if he was in Imo State, and as a man who is supposed to be the one leading that party right now. Yes, Wike has played his role and he's grooving. He's on a cruise, as a matter of fact. You guys can fix yourself or sit out. It looks like, when you look at when the Fubara issue happened, it seems like the PDP governors are even, going after him, like seeking his face and not Atiku's face. Nobody heard Atiku's voice in any way, directly or indirectly, in that crisis. If the PDP is really ready to be a political party, that may stand the test of time. Are we, from this letter written by this group, are we at the point where we can begin to say, Atiku, you either step in or you step out? Are we at the point, because every opposition party have their role in the national development. Now, are we at the point where we can begin to say, Atiku Abubakar, fix your house? this responsibility is on you. And does he have what it takes to bring the PDP together?
Okay, at this point, I would say Atiku meant well, okay, nationally speaking. He meant well for the country and for the party too. But he's reaping from the evils they have done in the last 16 years.
Let's concentrate on this now.
Background, yes.
Because you asked a question.
Yes.
The party couldn't sack Wike.